established for us, Mr. and Mrs. Cleary, that first of all, we shouldn't be surprised that universities are as covetous of their own reputation as the people are, and we shouldn't be surprised that they don't want a whole bunch of press on this. Your point is, despite their interest in public relations, the alarm should be sounded here. You're saying that campus crime is up?
That's right. It's growing at a geometric rate, according to the FBI, based on very fragmentary knowledge since 1980. Due to drugs and underage drinking, particularly rape, violence, crimes are increasing. And to answer, what we're trying to do is we've got a bill presented in the House of Representatives in the state of Pennsylvania, where every college, private and public, must report for the prior 3 years the felonies by category to all prospective students and their parents. It's really a consumer-type law.
Right.
Now, if you ask, they will lie to you. They'll say, we don't know, that information is not available.
And this bill also provides that they will give a description of the security that they provide to the students.
Yeah, I never thought about the bathroom and walking down.
Often it is a tragic event which draws national attention to an overlooked problem. The problem of campus crime is a potential threat for thousands of college students. Statistics indicate that campus crime is prevalent, although the discrepancy between national and local statistics has obscured the public's knowledge of these crimes. After the recent murder of 5 university students in Gainesville, Florida, the demand for accurate information on this vital issue has increased.
Shortly after the incident in Florida, that we, not only the local media from Rockford and Chicago area, were out here trying to find, what is our concern, what are the students' concerns, what measures have we taken, have we taken any increased measures? We've also had several parents that have called to find out, just what is being done out here. Surprisingly, the students themselves were not concerned. The students, felt comfortable, and on the campus. That it just wasn't a great concern of theirs and a fear of theirs at the time. The crime is here, and I'll tell any parent or student, that we're no different than where it was at home. It's a shame that you have to put a key on a chain around your neck to go take a shower, but that's life.
See, I'm kind of biased because I went to Louvain undergrad. We had a lot of problems there, and and you knew about it too. Like here, you just don't. I don't know. When I got here, I don't hear anything about what goes on. So if there are attacks, rapes, muggings, whatever, apartment break-ins, I don't hear anything about it. Down there, I hear a lot about it. So for some reason, I feel safer here. But that may be just because it's blind ignorance.
Because she met him at 7-Eleven and they asked her if she wanted to ride home and she got in a car, which is stupid, I know, but they took her out into the cornfields and left her. And it was stupid of her, but still.
She doesn't deserve it, though.
No one deserves it, you know?
I feel I'm very safe. Everything's all locked up. It's incredible. I was really surprised.
So the girl got elbowed in the head, and and the guy actually took the pizza from her, and the people there at Lincoln Hall, instead of helping her out, they were cheering.
Well, they seem to be voicing their opinion about this. How do you feel do you feel safe on campus?
Safe, yeah.
Do you think it's because you're a male?
Yeah, very much so.
I was very frustrated. I mean, I was walking home. It wasn't unusually late. I was walking with a friend. You know, it's not like I was walking home at 3 in the morning, you know, by myself. You know, that would be a little different circumstance. Totally unprovoked, you know, I was just walking along, and they came behind me, and, you know, the obvious thing is to see, well, hey, what are they doing? You know, I thought, you know, there was going to be a problem back here, and then as soon as I turned forward, another guy running, you know, hits you. It was very frustrating, you know, I mean, there's no reason why anything like that should happen on a campus like this.
The following incident was witnessed by an NIU student who prefers to remain anonymous.
Well, basically, there was a party that evening, and there was a lot of drinking going on. I don't specifically recall what the party was for, per se, but I remember that a lot of people were drunk, and it seemed like a lot of people were downstairs meeting people of the opposite sex type of thing. And I'd seen a gentleman being a little bit aggressive with a girl, you know, trying to make advances a little bit too rapidly with her. I know he had just met her because I knew who she was, or at least knew of her. And the next thing I knew, I saw him, like, with her upstairs in the hallway, and I didn't think too much of it. And I just thought it was kind of strange because I knew that she was pushing her way downstairs. And then I saw him go into his bedroom, you know, and I just went back downstairs, and then I came back up about, you know, 15 to 20 minutes later, and I saw the guy who was in that room 15 minutes ago downstairs drinking beer, talking with his friends. And I asked him where the girl was, and he just shook his head and goes, no idea. So I walked back upstairs, and I saw this girl crying hysterically in the hallway. You know, just hysterically, couldn't talk, and her eyes were rolled back, and she looked like a ghost. She was real white. And I asked her what was wrong, and she wouldn't tell me. And so one of my friends was with me, and he said, let me take you home, thinking that maybe, you know, one of her friends, she got in a fight with someone. He wasn't sure. And I wasn't exactly sure at the time. It all makes sense now, but at the time I didn't realize what was going on. And I'd taken her home, and then 2 days later, we got a call. Or what we did is we called her to see what was going on, and she told us to come over there, and she said that she had been sexually assaulted by that gentleman who I just spoke of earlier, and she said that she didn't give great detail, and I didn't want to know great detail, but she said that she had, you know, pushed him away, and he said no, and he was being real aggressive, and he held her down by her right hand, and he told her if he didn't, he'd beat the hell out of her, and that type of thing. So he was forcibly and he did have intercourse with her.
Fear. We all experience it to some degree when we walk alone at night. Overgrown landscaping, poorly lit areas, and lack of police accessibility are concerns of all students. Yet administrative measures are being taken in these areas, so they shouldn't be the main focus of crime prevention. No, in order to make progress in the war against crime, we must first attack the root of the problem. Student and administrative efforts must concentrate on the major reasons that enable crime to occur.
I think people should be more responsible drinkers. I mean, just like drunk driving, that we don't drink too much before you go out and drive, or maybe you shouldn't drink so much before. I mean, you're not going to stop drinking totally.
I think it's becoming
more responsible.
I think people are, though, becoming more responsible. I mean, if you go out to a party, I think people are watching each other a little bit more than what it's been. I mean, I read a lot of articles about it. I mean, it's always in that Enhancement Now or whatever in the newspaper. I mean,
that goes back to the family life.
Kids go to college and their parents aren't there to tell them no, so they use alcohol and they think it's the greatest thing, so they just drink it, and they get out of control, you know, and they just do things that they normally wouldn't have done. So if their parents, like when I was home, my mom never ever let me drink in front of her, but she never told me, that she never punished me or anything like that. To come to college for me wasn't so I could drink. A lot of people think that. They get so excited because they're independent.
What we talk about is the responsible use of alcohol. Like I mentioned before, I'm a lifelong citizen of DeKalb, and I was also a Northern student. I graduated from Northern. I was in a fraternity. And yes, I did do some drinking, you know. But, you know, we said before, it's just responsible use of alcohol. It's not just the campus area, but I think any police officer would agree with me that a big majority of our calls for service deals around alcohol, whether it's a domestic violence report where a husband has battered a wife, or a child abuse case where a small victim may have been battered or sexually abused, fights downtown. So many of our calls for service and time that is spent is because of the misuse of alcohol and drugs.
We have seen an increase of alcohol-related incidents over the last 5 to 10 years.
Vandalism is another very large problem, which I think is highly related to drinking. We have a lot of elevator damage, lots of things like holes in the walls, false alarms, which is another form of vandalism, stopped up sinks and those kinds of things. Fights is one I didn't mention, which is one that occurs quite frequently. This is, again, a lot of this is alcohol related. A lot of it is with people who already know each other. That's the most frequent thing. Sometimes it's related to these domestic breakups. Sometimes it's related to roommate problems. It's almost a vulnerable condition of being drinking, you know. It's more or less a vulnerable condition rather than location, because there's inevitably alcohol is involved with about 80% of these things, including usually both people drinking and acquaintance rate.
That's what starts most of your fights, is the fact that people get drunk and some of them use an excuse to get mean, some of them get braver, do things that they wouldn't do normally, you know. I can't really say that, you know, the box has really had that much effect as far as that. We've had a few people. Go ahead.
Unfortunately, alcohol leads people to forget the rules. It also leaves people in a more vulnerable state.
The alcohol issue would solve so many problems if we could just combat that. Over 50% of all reported sexual assaults are due to alcohol on either the alcohol consumption on either one party or both parties, by both parties. Usually it's by both parties. One of the biggest problems you have with sexual assaults is there isn't clear communication as to what sexual wants are on both sides. When you drink alcohol, your decision-making skills are impaired. You can't communicate. It's hard enough to communicate clearly anyway. Nonetheless, if you're under the influence of alcohol, with that inhibiting factor, to then make responsible decisions about if you want to have sex or not. And if we could get away with if we could solve the alcohol problem, I think we would see a vast decrease in sexual assaults.
I think we need even more in the way of positive role models. I'm heartened to hear that the fraternities have gone to dry rush. I think that's a wonderful thing.
But when it comes down to when it's a party, I think they're more concerned about themselves and their primitive behavior, however they may act, comes out, their true behavior, and they'll act the way they want to. Not saying that they would ever assault somebody, but I think they're a different person.
I've heard that the fraternities are required for any official party to have non-alcoholic drinks as well. I think that's great.
No, it's definitely non-acceptable to not drink at a party. There's a lot of peer pressure to drink, and you're expected to be drunk or as drunk as the people who are there, beyond a doubt. Any party I've ever been to. There's a great deal of peer pressure to drink. Whenever there's alcohol, there's a peer pressure to drink. If everyone else is not drinking, then you feel comfortable, but if everyone else is drinking and you're the guy there, girl there without a beer, you feel very uncomfortable because people will pester you about it.
But what we need is more willingness on the part of students to show their disapproval of heavy drinking, for example. Someone having a drink is not the problem. People getting drunk and friends encouraging them to get drunk is a big problem.
When it comes right down to it, if it's a party and they've been drinking and their friends are there and there's girls around, I think they would tend to forget it more than they would remember it.
RAs need to publish things, put them on their board, need to have those little meetings, maybe a couple more programs. And I never knew about a lot of these meetings because they weren't publicized. I mean, there's things going on all the time, it's just, you don't hear about it.
What types of meetings are you talking about?
Oh, just little, like, every year they have a date awareness, a week or something like that. Of course you hear about that because it's more publicized. But then you hear about these little meetings or whatever they have at the Home Student Center and says, you gotta beware of your dates and everything like that, you know. But I've never heard of those.
Well, we just had alcohol awareness week during, I think, the week of homecoming. You know, and of course we look at the fact that you know, they promote tailgating, come out and drink with us before the game, you know, during Alcohol Awareness Week. But, you know, sometimes, you know, they're working against each other. You know, you have one organization trying to solve and educate, you know, solve the problem and educate the community, and you have another one to encourage it.
But I still think we need to make students aware of the role of alcohol in many types of crimes. I think we also have an obligation, especially to let potential assailants know, by law, an individual cannot give consent if they're under the influence of alcohol. So stating a victim says, let's just use a female and a male who have been drinking, the female says, gives consent to have sex. By law, if she's been drinking, she can't give consent. So he is at fault just at that point.
Well, yes, I would think education would go much, much further to cure that. One, we need to explain to men what sexual assault means to a person, how a woman feels about sexual assault. I think, sadly enough, too many men think of sexual assault as a competitive game, or think of it as no worse than being mugged. Well, one, you two are women, and you know how the idea of sexual assault hits you. We need to find some ways to make that idea hit men, too.
And I think the university is responsible for protection, but I think the most important thing is it lies with the individual. I mean, we all have to take responsibility for ourselves and for our friends. I think we should emphasize that the most. I mean, because the university can't really hold everybody's hand, you know, to class, you know, or after, back to the dorms or whatever. I think we have to watch out for ourselves and make smart decisions about if we're going out to party or whatever, or even to a class.